Mark is a visionary businessman, Beatrix called after Olivia too late, and unconvincingly. I am so pleased to have the opportunity to work for President DeLillo. Olivia had her back to them, grinning ear to ear, her arm around Chris's. Sven followed close behind them, laughing to himself. Mark wished his eyes could burn through Olivia's back. Soon, he thought silently, I will be able to stomp Olivia beneath my feet. She wishes she could stop me, but nobody can. I have to revive the Rose family and get back what the Johnson family owes us, which is now double. And I have to get it back from Olivia. Beatrix gritted her teeth, enraged that Olivia somehow knew about her and her sister Melanie having been banished by the rest of the Coopers. Beatrix had been promised by her mysterious superior that, even if Olivia knew that Melanie was banished, it did not matter because she was safe. What she needed to do now was assist the imbecile Mark DeLillo in turning his Rose Company into the next top company of New York City as quickly as possible. Then, and only then, could she return to her sister. Beatrix turned to the angry Mark and wished she could roll her eyes. She thought to herself, a truly intelligent person, especially in this situation, would not let others see anger or joy on his face. Mark is disappointing. Beatrix thought that Mark seemed to not be learning anything from her, but she knew that assisting Mark was an order from her mysterious man. All she could do was what he said. Because Beatrix had such a terrible first impression of Mark, she assumed it was necessary to remind him of the obvious. She cleared her throat. President DeLillo, Olivia is just trying to sow discord. I hope you don't take her words to heart about the two of us and affect our working relationship. What? Mark turned to her, annoyed. Impatience flashed across his eyes, along with a look like a teenage boy being scolded by his mother. I knew that. It was obvious. Do you think I couldn't tell? Wonderful, Beatrix said. That is great to hear. Good job, Mark. I look forward to working with you. Yeah, me too, Mark replied, not hiding his disdain. I will be leaving first. Beatrix narrowed her eyes. I will come to you with the contract tomorrow, as we agreed. Yeah, obviously, Mark answered her and turned away, a frown tugging at the corners of his mouth. He had thought this would be a great day for him, but it was a very, very bad day. His bad luck came in one blow after the other. It was truly unfair. Mark went to mingle with people he knew would offer him compliments about his event and future in business. Beatrix privately took a deep breath and pictured squeezing all of her unhappiness into a little box in her stomach. Only by being tested can we know our greatness, she thought silently. All of these difficult things are only making me stronger. For Melanie, I can endure these things. I will get rid of the obstacles before me one by one. Once Mark left soon after, the other members of the Cooper family approached Beatrix, their eyes hungry with expectations. Each of them knew they had no way to raise their station. Beatrix was their last hope to get back to the glory and status they once had. How is everything with Mark? Her Uncle Ryan asked with a leer up and down her body. She pretended not to notice. The contract will be signed tomorrow, she said simply. She did not pretend to have any love for them. After she said that, she walked toward the doors. Great! Ryan cheered to the others, who were also so happy that they were about to cry. Really great! Erica Cooper called out to Beatrix. Wait, where are you going? It doesn't matter, Beatrix said, her tone impatient. If you want to stay, stay. If you want to leave, leave. It doesn't matter to you what I do. Ryan straightened his suit and ran a hand through his hair. Beatrix, you have to be careful heading home by yourself. You're a young woman. With even just the promise of signing a contract with the Roses tomorrow, much of their arrogance had returned in full force. They were out at a high society banquet, and they had promise again. It was once again their chance to look down on everyone they spoke to. Brett crossed his arms at Beatrix condescendingly. Ryan is right, you need to be careful. Huh. Nisha joined Ryan by his side, looking up at Beatrix the same way he had, but with a look of disdain. Mark DeLillo really isn't picky about his food, is he? He wants anything. Beatrix raised her head, staring straight at all of them but landing at Nisha. Nisha was frightened by Beatrix's sinister gaze. "What is it? Don't look at me like that," she hissed. Beatrix cocked an eyebrow, her voice cold as ice. "Why don't you go and have a try, Auntie, and see how picky President DeLillo is about his food? If you cannot do it, don't you have a daughter-in-law who could?" "You disgusting rat," Nisha whispered fiercely at her. Ryan looked angry as well. "Forget it," he snapped at his wife. "Beatrix, go home." No matter what any of them said, they all knew that Beatrix was the one who won them the contract that day. Even if they would have hated to admit it, they knew she saved the Cooper family. Ryan felt that as the eldest uncle, he needed to put a lid on the bickering. Beatrix huffed, turning away from them and walking out as quickly as she could. "I feel disgusting staying in that place with those people for one more second," she thought to herself. "Talking to them makes me feel oily." She sighed as she left past the decorations and dressed up staff. I don't blame Olivia or Chris for saying that this place is boring and tasteless. Mark might as well have gone to the same place they sell decorations for kids' birthday parties. Thinking about how she was cooperating with, no, working for, such a person, Beatrix unconsciously knitted her brows, breaking her own rules about maintaining composure. But no matter what, she wanted Olivia to suffer the consequences. If Mark could at least improve at keeping together and thinking before he spoke, then Beatrix thought she would be willing to listen to the mysterious man's orders and assist him. But if Mark DeLillo got in her way and sabotaged her efforts at every step, then she was also more than glad to do as the mysterious man said and just get rid of Mark instead. She remembered that she had that second option and felt relief. Elsewhere in the city, Sven drove Olivia and Chris into the parking lot underneath the park company's building. Chris took Olivia's hand, squeezing it tight. "Once I say goodbye this time, we won't see each other for a couple weeks, right?" Olivia gulped, her throat dry. "Do you want to come up and hang out? My office has a great couch." Chris smiled. "All right." Sven sighed. "I guess we can. There's still a mountain of work to be done, but I do love a great couch." Olivia and Chris shared a look, laughing at Sven. "What?" he asked. The three of them entered the vast lobby together and took the elevator up to the top floor. As Chris and Sven entered her office, they stopped for a moment, but she didn't notice. "Find a place to sit and let anyone know if you need something." Chris's eyes widened, taking in the view of the skyline. "Wow, Olivia. Nice." Sven paced around, looking at all of her furniture and decorations. "Olivia, this place is not bad at all. Very stylish." Olivia laughed. "Not bad." She pressed a button on her desk. A young assistant with huge glasses ran in, stumbling, but righting herself quickly as though nothing had happened. "Chairman, what can I do for you?" Olivia frowned, not recognizing this person, but trying to search her memory. "Prepare some tea, please." "Right away," she said, turning to leave. "Wait a minute." Olivia raised a hand, stopping her. "Who are you?" "I'm a new intern," she said, pushing her glasses up her nose. "My name is Lily Miller." "Where do you go to school, Lily Miller?" Olivia asked casually. "I go to NYU." Lily replied, wringing her hands nervously. "Oh, so does Chris." Olivia gestured to him. She knew he didn't often attend his classes, but he did technically go to NYU. Olivia noticed that something about this piqued Chris's suspicions. He narrowed his eyes, assessing Lily in a new way. "I do," he responded. With that same suspicious air, he asked Lily, "What's your major?" Something about this whole situation didn't sit right with Chris. Alarm bells started ringing in his head. Is this a trap? Chris was suspicious of Olivia's new intern, Lily Miller, which in turn piqued Olivia's interest. "I'm majoring in literature," Lily replied as she pushed her glasses up the bridge of her nose, answering Chris's question. "Literature," Chris repeated, surprised. "That's pretty old-fashioned." I don't think I know any other people taking that major at NYU. It is old-fashioned. I don't know what I was thinking. Lily nodded with a self-deprecating laugh. Not a lot of people take it, but I love it. Thank you, Lily. We just need that tea, Olivia said, politely dismissing her. Lily gave a nod. Right, sorry. She left Olivia's office as quietly as a mouse. So, Chris looked at Olivia incredulously. An intern is your executive assistant now? Shouldn't she be observing the other assistants and writing a paper about it or something? Sven raised his eyebrows. Yeah, you deserve better, Livy. You know you're the boss around here, right? Be careful, Chris reminded. If something seems odd, that can be dangerous. Olivia laughed. She appreciated Chris's caution on her behalf. Mark DeLillo has worked hard to launch his company for such a long time. I know the ways he's trying to sabotage me already. I'm not worried about her. She's so nervous. Oh, right, I was meaning to ask. Sven jumped in. What did you mean earlier when you said that the younger sister in the Cooper family is banished? That's so dramatic. Olivia thoughtfully twirled a pen in her hands. Beatrix Cooper is very capable. She's smart and sharp. She's also ruthless and a little twisted. If they use her well, she could be a serious danger to me and my company. Sven and Chris's eyes grew dark, taking in this information. However, Olivia continued, she is not a robot. She is a person. Every person has a weak point. Olivia's face filled with pride. I found her weak point. It's Melanie Cooper. Oh? Sven asked with interest. Olivia sat with Chris and Sven explaining. If I were a mysterious man ordering around this dangerous woman, I would also separate Melanie and Beatrix Cooper. He's holding Melanie to make sure Beatrix is loyal to him. The story is that Melanie is studying in Europe and living her best life, but in fact, she's being held by Beatrix's boss. Sven nodded, impressed. She's the collateral. You could say that. Olivia thought for a moment. And Beatrix is so good at what she does. I don't know that she has any other weak points at all. I need someone to help me investigate Melanie Cooper's whereabouts. Chris perked up. Do you want me to do that? No need. Olivia put a hand on his arm. I know you have things on your plate. Since Melanie is somewhere in Europe, I think Jed Park can handle it. Got it, Chris replied, looking disappointed and a little hurt. Olivia smiled. Hey, she said, and he made eye contact with her. You don't have to worry about my stuff. I've got it. Sven was about to say something when Olivia's office door opened. A man and woman entered in white-collared suits. They sized Chris and Sven up, then walked straight to Olivia. Chairman, we have these documents for you. Yes, thank you. Olivia nodded. Just put it on my desk. The man and the woman placed a thick stack of documents on the desk. The woman looked like she had something to say, meeting Olivia's eyes, but then she glanced at Chris and Sven. Olivia gave a nod. You can speak freely in front of them. They are not outsiders. The woman looked relieved. Yes, I just want you to know that this results from us pursuing the clues about the orphanage you asked us to investigate. I think you will be pleased. Excellent, Olivia replied. You two can leave. The man and the woman left the office, shutting the door behind them. Chris and Sven looked at each other, both impressed. Sven shook his head in disbelief. Livy, you're incredible. Is something wrong? Olivia asked, confused. Those two were clearly assassins, Sven answered her. I could tell by how they moved that they were trained in martial arts. They're alert. They both look strong as hell. Chris nodded in agreement. Sven looked at the door where the assassins had disappeared, his face full of wonder. You're a chairman, and you've enlisted assassins as your assistants? This is mint. Olivia laughed. Isn't that good, though? That's what mint means, Sven cried. Olivia smiled. If any random person with ill intentions snuck in, they're always here to protect me and everyone else in the building. It was basically the first thing I did. Sven let out a low whistle. If you were to lend them out, you could make so much money. Send them on missions and stuff like that. Chris rolled his eyes at Sven and turned to Olivia. Is there any progress figuring out everything about Millie? Olivia nodded. That's a good question. There should be some progress. I'll contact Violet Cartwright later to check in. There was a polite knock at the door. Come in, Olivia called out. Lily Miller entered carrying a tray with a teapot and 3 mugs. Chairman? Thank you, Olivia said. Please pour it. Yes, of course, Lily said as she put the tray down, looking flustered. She filled the 3 mugs, her hands slightly shaking. Lily stood and faced Olivia. Chairman, you can call me if you need anything else. Yes, I know, Olivia nodded. Thank you, Lily. Lily left Olivia's office. As soon as she shut the door behind her, her humble smile disappeared. This is absolutely degrading, Lily thought silently to herself. What a joke. Inside the office, Olivia lifted her mug and gestured to Chris and Sven. Try it. I just got this blend in. It's really good. Sven's mouth hung open. You're going to drink the tea that suspicious new person brought in? Olivia smiled. I only dare to drink it because she's the one who brought it over. She's directly implicated if anything were to happen. If someone else brought it, then I'd be careful. Chris raised his eyebrows. Sven shook his head. What has happened to our little Livy? You're a mastermind. Sven took a sip of his tea. Yeah, this tea of yours is not bad. Like I said, Olivia grinned. She suddenly thought of something. Hey, today at the grand opening for the Rose Company, did you notice anyone from the Nevin family? Sven looked thoughtful. I didn't see any Nevins, now that you mention it. Definitely not Jared or Jake Nevin. Olivia said, narrowing her eyes. I think Jared Nevin will come see me very soon. Chris perked up. Yes, and when he does, if there's anything you need me to do. Olivia waved a hand. Oh, really, don't worry about it, Chris. I know you're busy. I can handle it. Chris, feeling dejected, shut his mouth. Olivia's office door opened. Jeff Dreyer entered. Olivia, Nevin is here. He suddenly stopped, seeing Sven and Chris. Sorry, I didn't know you'd guess. It's fine, you can speak freely in front of them, Olivia assured Jeff. What's wrong? Jeff sighed, uneasy, but did as Olivia said. Jared Nevin asked me to tea again after work. Olivia nodded. Great, you should do it. What about you? Jeff asked. If he knows he wants to work with you, shouldn't you come too? I'm a little busy. Olivia smiled. I won't be going tonight. Oh. Jeff looked confused. This is delicate, Olivia explained patiently. We wait for him to ask to see me. If he hasn't asked for me yet, I won't go. She shrugged. Okay. Jeff nodded, satisfied. He politely nodded to Sven and Chris, turned and left Olivia's office just as Violet Cartwright entered. She also looked confused to see Sven and Chris. Chris stood up. Hey, we're gonna head out so you two can talk. You're really busy, so we don't have to tie you up entertaining us any longer. Okay. Olivia reluctantly nodded. I do have a lot of things to do. Chris and Sven started to leave, but Olivia moved to accompany them. I'll walk you guys to the elevator. Violet, I'll be right back. Of course, Violet replied. Olivia, Chris, and Sven walked wordlessly to the elevator. Olivia smiled at them, thinking about how long it would be until she saw Chris again. Okay, bye you guys, see you next time. All right, Chris said coldly, entering the elevator. Bye, Livy. Sven waved and entered as well. Bye. Olivia sadly waved back as the elevator doors started to close. Chris's eyes met hers. He looked tortured, debating within himself about something. Right before they touched, Chris's hand shot out between the doors to stop them. The doors parted again. Olivia looked at Chris puzzled as he walked out to face her. What has gotten into Chris? Is he about to make a scene? Olivia held her breath. I'm having a lot of feelings right now, Chris blurted out. He stepped out of the elevator, coming face to face with Olivia. I'm so happy to see how much you've grown. You're amazing. You really are every bit the boss that your title says you are. You're smart, you're careful, and I'm so proud of you. Olivia smiled, her heart swelling. Chris continued, I don't know, I think it makes me feel like you don't need me anymore. I feel lonely. Olivia was so surprised she was stunned for a moment. If it's possible, can you maybe act like you need me a little bit sometimes? Chris asked. Olivia breathed. Chris, it doesn't matter if I need you. He looked down, but she moved her head to meet his eyes. Because I want you so much. Chris put his arms around her and hugged her tightly. She hugged him back. They stood there for a long moment before separating. Chris reluctantly got back onto the elevator and gave her a sheepish wave. After the elevator door slowly closed again, Olivia held her chest with both hands and let out a long sigh. Once her heartbeat slowed back down to normal, she walked back to her office. As much as she wished she could lie on her sofa and think about Chris for a while, she knew she still had a lot on her plate. She entered her office where Violet was patiently waiting. Olivia immediately asked, What's going on with the orphanage? What have you discovered? Violet sighed. This matter is proving difficult to handle. When we were investigating, the Crawford family and the Pell family were also looking into it. Olivia remarked, surprised. Well, we know the Crawford family is investigating because they think Millie is the long-lost Crawford. But why is the Pell family poking around as well? Is it also because of Millie or something? I knew we needed to figure that out, and I was also curious. Violet replied. So I sent people to investigate. It turns out that the Pell family also lost a girl in their family over 10 years ago. Pete Pell lost a child who was the same age as Millie. Olivia's heart skipped a beat. That's so dramatic, no way. The Crawfords and the Pells both lost a girl the same age? Violet raised her eyebrows in agreement. I know, what are the odds? But these are just my suspicions, I'm not sure yet. Olivia sipped her tea and with her hands around the lukewarm mug started pacing the edge of her office in front of the New York skyline. What have you found out about the teacher from the orphanage who I asked you to investigate? I have already found him, Violet answered. Where is he? Olivia asked quickly. He is now an independent bookstore owner in Cobble Hill. Violet tapped her knee lightly. Should I bring him to you, or? Olivia's face looked determined. I will go and find him myself. Is there anything else? There is one more thing, Violet replied. The renovation work on the Johnson mansion has already begun. Today, the renovation team asked me about whether we want to renovate the courtyard or not. There is also a bedroom on the west side that gets no sunlight. Olivia paused, hearing this. It sounded like Violet was referring to her old bedroom in the Johnson mansion, the one that Monica and Rachel had her sleep in on purpose because it was so dark and gloomy. Violet continued. The renovation team asked if we want to change it from a bedroom to a storage room or something like that, since it's not a good location for someone to sleep in. There's no need to change the courtyard, Olivia decided. The overall layout of the house does not need to change. That bedroom on the west side of the mansion should also be kept as is. Yes. Violet frowned, slightly puzzled, but she knew it was Olivia's decision. Well, that's all I had for you right now. Thank you. You can attend to whatever you need to right now, Olivia said, grateful. You can come with me later to Cobble Hill. Violet nodded in agreement and left Olivia's office. Now alone, Olivia sat behind her desk and leaned back in thought, her brows tightly knotted. Now that she knew the Pells and the Crawfords were both investigating the orphanage and already had a tense relationship, things were different. This involved the powers of the 4 ancient families and the 7 great families. If anything went wrong, Millie could be in grave danger. Olivia lightly tapped her fingertip on her desk. What should we do? She thought to herself. Olivia remembered how miserable Millie had been in her past life. She had always thought there was something suspicious about exactly how it had gone. She was excited to play such an active part of Millie's life this time around because she wanted to protect her from that same fate. But with everything she had just learned, Olivia was very worried. She couldn't allow these forces to wreck Millie's life. After thinking about it for a long time, Olivia called Millie. She told her about finding the teacher from Millie's old orphanage. This is her life, after all, Olivia thought to herself. She should be a part of this too. Millie had been in the middle of tutoring Lena and Morgana on their homework when Olivia called. Wow, I didn't expect you to find anything about the orphanage so quickly. She chewed her lip. I didn't either, Olivia replied. Tonight, I'm going to the bookstore in Cobble Hill to find that teacher. Do you want to come with me? It was evening now, but they had left Mark DeLillo's banquet early enough that there was still time to visit this bookstore. Millie felt overwhelmed. Her stomach was in knots, but she didn't want to miss this. I have to think about it. I totally understand, Olivia said with sympathy. I can't imagine how you're feeling right now. They said their goodbyes and hung up. Millie sat silently for a moment, stunned, when Morgana and Lena finally couldn't take it anymore and waved their hands in front of Millie's eyes. Millie! Millie! They each called to her across the table. What was that about? Lena asked. Huh? Millie blinked, finally looking at them. What did you say? Lena's jaw hung open. Why do you look like your soul left your body because of that phone call? What the F was it about? Nothing. Millie shook her head and looked back to her textbook. I think we finished this chapter. Is there anything else you two wanted me to clarify? Oh, Morgana frowned. Millie, we just started this page, and you didn't even begin to explain. We didn't finish it. Ah, right, Millie said, her voice hollow. I guess you're right. She is right, Lena said as she stood and limped over to Millie, still bandaged from the hospital. She reached out and touched Millie's forehead. Are you sick? Do you want some water? You don't need to do that, Lena, Morgana insisted, standing up. You should be sitting down. I can go grab a glass for each of you. I want Coke, Lena announced, with ice. You got it. Morgana rolled her eyes and walked into the kitchen. Lena sat across from Millie, studying her. Millie, what happened to you? You're acting really weird. Millie let out a huge breath that she didn't realize she'd been holding. Olivia said that she found one of my old teachers from the orphanage. Isn't that good? Lena asked. Don't you want to know more about who you are? But, Millie frowned, trying to sort through her feelings. I don't know what's going on. I just have a really bad feeling. Are you PMSing? Lena asked. Is it hormones? Millie looked at Lena, finally at a loss. I don't. She was about to disagree, but then decided against it. It would be easier to just agree with Lena. You know what? Yeah, I'm just PMSing. I knew it. Lena grinned, proud of herself. Morgana came back from the kitchen holding a couple of cans of soda. We didn't have Coke, but I brought some Sprite. That's perfect, Lena said with a wave of her hand. You know, I want some now too. Millie held out her hand to Morgana. Lena took a big gulp. Ooh, that's great for PMS. Morgana frowned. Is it? Lena shrugged cheerfully. Morgana sat down tentatively. Millie, I heard what you guys said just now. I know it's totally up to you, and I don't know what you were going to decide. I don't know either, Millie interjected. Morgana smiled sympathetically. I know a little bit about having a family you don't remember, and I think that if you're meant to, either you'll find out about it now or you'll find out later. The result is the same. Either you are fated to know or you're not, and it doesn't really matter what you do. Lena's eyes were wide. That's so creepy. Millie laughed, and Lena laughed at herself for taking it seriously. But Morgana just shook her head at them knowingly. Whether you think it's funny or not doesn't mean it isn't true. A short while later, Olivia sat in her office looking over documents. Her phone buzzed with a text message from Millie. "I'll go with you to Cobble Hill," it said. Olivia smiled and responded, "I'll pick you up soon." Olivia put a forkful of the pasta on her desk to her mouth and was startled to find it ice cold. "Oh, that's right," she thought to herself, annoyed. "Violet brought this hours ago. I really lost track of time." Olivia sighed. She had finally reviewed the thick stack of documents and memos in her inbox and put them aside. This day had felt like it went on forever, and she was exhausted. Olivia called in one of her assistants from the secretary group and handed over her completed documents. She lowered her voice. "I also need someone to investigate who at the company hired Lily Miller. I also need to know who assigned her to work in my office." "Will do," the assistant replied. "This investigation needs to be as secretive as possible." Olivia raised her eyebrows and the assistant nodded, understanding. Olivia was satisfied. "Oh, and please ask Violet Cartwright to come see me." "Right away," the assistant answered and left her office. Olivia felt tension in her temples and forehead. She massaged them with her fingertips, but she had been straining them for hours. Even though she was decades younger than most people who did this job, it weighed on her. The responsibility and the pace of it felt like it was aging her. "I'm getting used to this chairman of the board thing," she thought silently, "but it is still exhausting. I don't know what I'd do without Jeff Dreyer and the whole secretary group. Though," she narrowed her eyes, sighing to herself, "there are still a few people I could use. If I really am going to go up against the forces of the 7 great families and the 4 ancient families because of Millie, my current strength will not be enough. I have a lot of really capable people by my side. I just need more. Oh, this is exactly what Chris wanted to help me with." She groaned, remembering his face suddenly, and what he had said to her earlier. Chris wants me to rely on him more. The idea of taking a step back and not worrying about all of this anymore sounds so good, she thought as she closed her eyes, pressing harder on the thin muscles in her sore temples. But if I take a step back and take my eyes off everything completely, that's how I'll find myself in danger. She reminded herself as her eyes shot open. Thousands of different people from dozens of different families and fractions want to take me down right now, and the number of enemies is only growing day by day. And I will survive them all, she argued with herself, determined. Of course I will survive them all because I am good at this. Indeed, I always have to be the one running things. I have to oversee my army. I have to be able to trust them. But I also can't ever close my eyes and rest, because that's when they'll get me. I can't take a step back. I have to keep moving forward. Violet entered. "Miss," she greeted Olivia, then saw the container of pasta on Olivia's desk. She couldn't help but frown. "You've been working for so long, you never ate?" "I was busy, I forgot," Olivia explained, shaking herself out of her brooding. "If you put it in the fridge, I can eat it tomorrow." "Honestly, miss." Violet hesitated. Olivia frowned at her, curious. Violet sighed. "I think that's going to taste terrible tomorrow. Their stuff doesn't keep in the fridge well at all." Violet grimaced. "And there's shrimp in that." Olivia sighed. "I don't have any appetite right now, but it would be a waste to throw it away. Maybe Jeff will eat it. He'll be working even later tonight as per usual." Violet suggested, "I can have someone heat it up and bring it to him." Olivia shook her head. "He has a social meeting tonight. Let's just toss it. It's probably no good anyways." With all of the news about Millie's orphanage, Olivia had not thought again about Jeff's meeting that night with Jared Nevin. It was a big night. Whether or not they could convince Jared to defect from his family and join them would probably be apparent by the end of the night. But Violet rolled her eyes, thinking that Jeff was probably engaged in some frivolous, purely social meeting. She wanted to laugh, thinking of him going on a date or maybe just hiring a sex worker. She thought he seemed like the type who would. Nah, she thought silently. He's not that aware of what he wants. She smirked, imagining his sweaty palms as whatever poor person who sat across from him on a date tried to pretend they were attracted to him at all. She could not imagine him flirting. There is no way he flirts, Violet thought. He's the kind of guy who would come into a date with a printed agenda and a contract. Is something funny? Olivia asked Violet, confused at the expression on her face. Violet cleared her throat and straightened her posture. Nothing, I was thinking about... She laughed, giving up. I was thinking about Jeff on a date. He'd be bad at it, wouldn't he? Olivia laughed, rolling her eyes at Violet. I will not comment on that. She stood, straightening her clothes and pulling on a coat. All right, let's go. We'll fetch Millie first, then head over to Cobble Hill. Violet nodded. You got it. Violet drove Olivia toward Millie's house. Along the way, Olivia gazed out the window at the New York City streets rushing by. She looked thoughtfully at Violet in the rearview mirror. Violet, how do you think we could expand our influence as quickly as possible? Expand our influence? Violet raised her eyebrows. Do you mean in the business world or the underworld? Olivia was surprised she had not articulated that to herself. Both counts. Well, the underworld is relatively simple, Violet answered. Just fight to the death with the other organizations. Once your reputation is established, anyone who's unhappy where they are and thinks you're a step up will come to you to seek refuge. Violet smiled. The underworld really is much simpler and more straightforward. As long as you have strength, you have power. I see. Olivia took this in. How did you follow my grandfather, Mr. Park? I thought he didn't have much power for a long time. Mr. Park? Violet looked confused for a moment, then said, Oh, that's right, I actually work for the DL. I don't officially follow Mr. Park, but the DL told us to obey Mr. Park's orders. DL? Olivia had never heard this before. Do you mean DL like down low? Duke Lee, Violet explained. You know him, don't you? Oh, I do indeed. Olivia nodded. How did you come to work for him? Violet watched the road, lost in her memories. I had a conflict with a local gang in Chicago. They wanted to kill me. I wanted to kill them. Later, Duke Lee and his men destroyed that gang and they helped me get my revenge. And I'd always heard about Pluto and knew that was who they were, so I joined them. Olivia nodded, impressed. So that's how the underworld works. Miss, if you want to expand your power, you could borrow Mr. Park and DL's influence. Pluto has a very good reputation, and I'm sure you have things to offer them. Olivia thought for a beat but shook her head. I don't want to borrow Grandpa's power. Then there is another way, Violet added. You could set up a new underground organization. When we take on a few more business deals and have a good reputation, more people will join naturally. Olivia sat up straighter. And you know people who would be good to manage a new group like that, don't you? Violet grinned. I do. I already have a few ideas. Olivia laughed in disbelief. This sounds crazy, but it's more crazy how much sense it makes. This is a good idea. Actually, Violet hesitated a moment. Although the people of the secretary group have not said so explicitly, they're all assassins. Since they're just doing paperwork and managing offices and calendars all day, well, I think some of them couldn't wait any longer. Olivia sighed. Yes, that makes sense. I neglected to see this problem coming. Miss, if you want to establish a new force, you have to quickly think of a name and tell me. Violet urged. Olivia was confused. What? Why? It needs to be registered as a formal underworld organization. Olivia laughed, but stopped when she saw that Violet did not. You're serious? Violet grinned. Very serious. The underworld plays by its own rules a lot more than businesses above board do. And if you want to be part of that world, you have to follow them too. I never knew underground crime syndicates had so many rules, Olivia said with a hollow laugh. I'm guessing we're not CCing any of this to the government, are we? You joke, but this is serious. Violet warned. There's a lot to consider and things can get a little dangerous. Violet smiled awkwardly. Olivia appreciated Violet's concern, but she was also amused at the idea of danger being a reason not to do this. Don't worry, I can take care of myself just fine. Anyone who crosses me is guaranteed to regret it. Olivia thought confidently. Well, I'm not seeing very many downsides. I'm definitely interested and ready to move forward, Olivia said. She had pretty much made up her mind. What about a name for the organization? Violet asked. Have you thought about what you'd call it? Not yet. Olivia shook her head but smiled confidently. I'd like your help with thinking about that too. I see. The name of your organization will be very important, so we'll have to think about it carefully, Violet advised. She thought for a moment, then said, Chris Jones has his own organization in New York City. It has a pretty good reputation from what I understand. Sven Jorgensen is the one who mainly manages it for him. Oh? Olivia raised her eyebrows, intrigued. What did Chris name it? Red Moon, Violet replied. Red Moon, huh? Olivia considered. Sounds a little like a 12-year-old gamer came up with it. She chuckled. Violet did not conceal her own smile, but did not say anything further. We'll figure it out when the time comes, Olivia said as she looked out the window. You can go ahead and take care of the other necessary requirements first. Will do, Violet replied. And you don't need to tell my grandpa about this, Olivia added carefully. Understood. Violet nodded. All right. Olivia smiled appreciatively. She turned to look outside. All this time, I had no idea how much of this was going on behind the scenes. It seems like it's practically standard procedure. It's kind of true. Violet sighed in agreement. Every industry has its own unspoken rules and norms. If you establish a side project, you still need to consider the benefits against the fallout if things go wrong. Of course. Olivia nodded and sighed thoughtfully. We'll continue this discussion later. Violet nodded dutifully. Soon they arrived outside of Millie's building. Millie and Morgana stood out front already, waiting by the entrance. Olivia smiled at the sight of her friends, ready to join her on another adventure. The car stopped in front of them, and the girls got into the car to join Olivia and Violet. Olivia, why didn't you come home yesterday? Morgana asked. Something came up, Olivia said as she scooted across the seat to make room next to her for Millie and Morgana. Olivia smiled reassuringly at Millie. Are we going to Cobble Hill now? Violet asked. Yes. Olivia nodded. Straight to Cobble Hill, please. Very good. Violet nodded and set the car navigation for Cobble Hill. There was something I wanted to tell you, Morgana said to Olivia. I saw that girl whose name is so similar to Millie's. Mellie? Short for Melissa, I think. Anyway, she was at school talking to that guy, Derek Brown. I don't know what they were talking about, but I thought it was weird since she doesn't go to school with us, so I'm not sure what she was doing there. Millie stiffened at the mention of Derek and Mellie. How did they seem when they were talking? Olivia asked. I only saw them from far away, and it seemed mostly normal. I was mostly confused about why she was there. Morgana shrugged, like she doesn't even go here. That does sound odd. Thanks for telling me, Olivia said without making a big deal of it. You've only been a student for such a short time and already you're keeping track of who does and doesn't belong. Olivia laughed. I have a lot of school spirit. Morgana grinned. Millie relaxed a little now that they were moving on from the subject and joking around. The car slowed to a stop at a red light. As they waited at the intersection, Millie turned her head to look out the window and her eyes narrowed in disbelief. Morgana followed Millie's gaze and turned to look. Speak of the devil! Isn't that the Mellie girl right there? It's Mellie, all right, Olivia confirmed, and her face turned sour. She wasn't upset at the sight of Mellie, but the person standing next to Mellie was someone she wholeheartedly hated. Violet, can you pull the car over, please? Violet nodded quickly. As soon as the car was parked, Olivia opened her door and got out. "Millie, stay in the car," she urged. "Okay," Millie agreed without question. Morgana immediately hopped out of the car. "Olivia, wait for me." Olivia didn't have time to waste. She quickly walked towards Millie, who was arguing with none other than Jake Nevin. "I'm warning you, if you don't stop following me, I'll—" Millie threatened in a loud voice. "You'll do what?" Jake jeered back. "I don't know what your problem is. If you have equations for Millie, go ask her. What are you bothering me for? I don't know you. Leave me alone, you creep," Millie yelled. "I overheard you say that you and Millie were at the same orphanage a long time ago. That's why I asked you," Jake said. "I don't want to answer questions about that. Get lost already," Millie said angrily. "Why is this guy such a pest? He followed me all this way, major creep vibes." "Hold on. Where do you think you're going?" Jake sneered. "Jake Nevin, shouldn't you be too busy to be doing stuff like this?" Olivia shook her head as she approached the two of them. "Olivia?" Jake frowned. "Where did you come from? What do you want?" Olivia was the last person Jake wanted to see at that moment. The more he thought about her, the angrier he got. She set a giant trap for me on the night of the Chamber of Commerce banquet. She's the worst. "I'm wondering the same thing about you," Olivia laughed. "The New York City Chamber of Commerce must not be keeping you as busy as I would have expected. And I thought it was a big, demanding job." "I haven't officially taken up the position yet," Jake glowered. "Oh, really?" Olivia blinked. "I'm surprised. That night at the banquet, you looked pretty eager to get started." "I've had enough." Jake gritted his teeth angrily. "Olivia, what exactly do you want?" "Millie is one of my best friends. If you want to know anything about her, Jake, all you have to do is ask me directly," Olivia said sarcastically. "Or is your plan to try and get dirt on Millie through Mellie so that you can hold it over her and Principal Yan? A little blackmail to get your transfer student success club reinstated, perhaps?" "You're reading into this way too much," Jake scoffed. "I was just curious, that's all." "Your priorities are awfully strange, Jake. You're not focused on the Nevin family. You're not focused on the Chamber of Commerce, even though you're the president. But you are preoccupied with my good friend, to the point where you're harassing random girls on the street." Olivia glared at Jake disdainfully. "I had no idea this was the kind of thing your grandfather wanted you to focus on. But what do I know about your family business? It's certainly an unconventional strategy, I'll give you that." "You!" Jake couldn't even choke out an insult. He was so furious and tongue-tied. He had not planned to run into Mellie that day, but when he saw her, he was reminded of what he overheard her say about the orphanage. He thought it was an easy opportunity to get information on Millie. An orphanage seemed ripe for a dark past, with skeletons in the closet that might be useful to him. He had just barely started talking to Mellie when Olivia showed up. "She won't be getting any information out of me," he thought angrily. Jake gritted his teeth and cursed under his breath. "Just you wait," he warned before he turned in a huff and left. Olivia scoffed as she watched Jake walk away from them. If this guy ever becomes the head of the Nevin family, then they really are screwed, Olivia thought, shaking her head. "Thank you for making him leave," Mellie said. She exhaled in relief after being tense for so long. "Where are you headed now?" "We were just on our way to Cobble Hill," Olivia answered. "Did you find Mr. Firth?" Millie asked excitedly. "Can I hitch a ride there with you? I just want to go to a store and check out some books." Olivia froze in surprise. Even with Violet's help, it took us forever to find him. But Millie already knows him? Olivia couldn't conceal her shock as she asked, "You know about Mr. Firth?" How does Millie already know about Mr. Firth? Olivia struggled to contain her surprise as she waited for Millie's answer. "He was a teacher at the orphanage," Millie said hesitantly. "I found out he opened a bookstore a while back, and I kept in touch with him ever since." "I see," Olivia nodded. I actually mentioned Millie to him the last time we spoke, but he's pretty old, so he didn't remember clearly." "Oh," Olivia said disappointedly. "Maybe he won't be very helpful after all. Since he's friends with Millie, maybe that will help us with an introduction at least." "Of course, you can come with us," Olivia finally replied to Millie. In the car, Millie looked stunned to see Millie joining them, but she didn't say anything. "Hi there," Millie greeted Millie without hesitation. "Hi." Millie smiled and nodded back, trying to be polite. "Hey, since you're here, how do you know that Derek Brown guy?" Morgana leaned in nosily. "I saw you guys around the school gate recently." "Oh, he's just a friend of mine," Millie stammered awkwardly. "Is he even my friend?" she wondered. "I don't even know." "Oh, okay." Morgana sat back in her seat with no further questions. They all rode along the rest of the way in silence. It wasn't until they finally reached the bookstore on Cobble Hill that anyone said anything. "We're here," Violet announced as she parked the car. "Olivia, do you need me to accompany you?" "No, we'll be all right on our own, thanks," Olivia answered. "I'll wait here then," Violet said and pulled out a tablet from her bag to keep herself busy. After Millie got out of the car, she kept glancing from Olivia back to Violet, confused. "Is that your bodyguard?" Millie asked curiously. "No, she's my assistant," Olivia laughed. "Wow, an assistant," Millie said, impressed. "Rich people are so different. You have assistants." "I guess it is kind of weird for someone my age to have an assistant," Olivia chuckled. Millie led the way toward the bookstore. "Mr. Firth, do you have anything new for me?" she called out through the open door. "Millie, you're here!" A girl wearing a work apron walked out and greeted them with a smile. "Glad you came now. We were about to close. My uncle is inside the back. Hang on a sec," she said before disappearing into the store. "Thanks," Millie said and walked into the store. She immediately perused the shelves full of books, picking up a few titles here to look closer before setting them back down. Olivia looked around the bookstore. It seemed relatively small, but there were many genres displayed on each wall. She noticed a sign that described a rental policy: $10 a week for 3 books, $5 for 1. The sign was written in neat, tidy handwriting and suited the cozy, inviting atmosphere in the store. "Millie, back already!" An older man with white hair and black-framed glasses emerged from a back room and smiled warmly at Millie. "Mr. Firth," Millie smiled back. "It's been a little while. How have you been?" "Not bad, not bad," Mr. Firth answered as his gaze shifted to Olivia, Morgana, and Millie, who stood nearby. His gaze lingered on Millie longer than the others. "You look familiar." He paused thoughtfully. He squinted as he thought for a few moments before his eyes widened with realization. "Millie? Is that really you?" "It's really me," Millie nodded sheepishly at Mr. Firth. She was glad to be remembered, but uneasy about not remembering him specifically. "You were much smaller the last time I saw you, but I recognized you after a little effort." Mr. Firth beamed proudly. "So you remember Millie, Mr. Firth?" Olivia asked eagerly. "Yes." Mr. Firth smiled and nodded. "The orphanage was pretty out of the way, and very few children were adopted by wealthy families like she was. It would be hard to forget Millie." "Oh, of course." Olivia nodded. "Right, we were all very jealous of Millie's amazing luck." Millie laughed nervously. "Please have a seat," the girl who first greeted them said with a smile. "Sorry, this place is a little small, but we'll all fit, I promise." Everyone nodded appreciatively and arranged themselves in various mismatched chairs that sat around the shop. Once they were all settled, Olivia leaned forward curiously. "Mr. Firth, do you remember anything about Millie?" "Unfortunately, I don't recall much specifically other than her fortunate adoption." Mr. Firth shook his head. "There was a fire at the orphanage. The children who survived still sustained a lot of lung and brain damage from that fire. Now that they're older, the effects are getting worse and worse, and their eyesight has deteriorated. I don't know who would do such a horrible thing like setting a giant fire on a bunch of innocent kids." His niece shook her head. I agree, Shelley, but don't you have work to do? Mr. Firth waved his hand. The new orders need sorting, and we've got a bunch of donations to catalog as well. Fine, fine. Shelley rolled her eyes and returned to work in the back room. Mr. Firth, Olivia continued, I want to ask, are you still in contact with any others from the orphanage at that time? Maybe anyone who knows more about Millie? We used to be in contact, but after so many years, moving and changing jobs and changing phone numbers, I've lost touch with everyone. Mr. Firth said regretfully. I've had this bookstore for a very long time, though, and sometimes former staff and orphans come to visit me. If you leave me your phone number and someone from the old orphanage comes looking for me, I'll have them contact you. Great, thank you, Olivia said. She pulled a business card from her bag and handed it to him. Just have anyone who remembers Millie contact this number. I surely will. Mr. Firth nodded as he took the business card. He looked at Millie with a conflicted look in his eyes. The orphanage was in terrible shape back when the fire happened. Even if there had been no fire at all, it was going to fall apart sooner or later. How much do you know about the orphanage from back then? Millie asked Mr. Firth warily. About what went on there back then. You were asking about the bullying that went on in the orphanage? Millie interrupted. There's no point. Even if Mr. Firth does remember, it doesn't change anything. It's true, the situation in the orphanage was not a good one, I'm afraid. Mr. Firth sighed sadly. Many of us wanted to help to change things, but we were unable to. At that time, we had a particularly extreme group of children. They were disturbed, especially at that time. Mr. Firth trailed off with a dark, faraway look in his eyes. He paused his mind far away in thought. That time. Olivia and the others watched Mr. Firth's mind wander. Olivia frowned, growing impatient. That time what? She pressed. That time... Mr. Firth mumbled again, and his eyes were blank. He reached up and rubbed his thumb between his eyebrows, straining his memory. What happened that time? If only I could remember. Mr. Firth felt his headache. It was as if he could remember fragments of something, but not a clear picture. He desperately wanted to remember because it felt important. But no matter how hard he tried, the memories did not materialize. The effort made him shudder with frustration. Mr. Firth, are you okay? Millie asked, concerned. Let him think. Olivia cut her off abruptly. Olivia felt bad to see the old man struggle so much, but he seemed as if he might be so close to something, and she didn't want it to slip away. I think I do remember something, Mr. Firth mumbled feebly as he squeezed his eyes shut, concentrating hard. Yes, around the time Millie was at the orphanage, he exclaimed. What do you remember? Millie asked urgently, her eyes wide. She had spent the whole trip there convincing herself that she would not get any answers today because she was so used to disappointment. She didn't remember anything from that time, so why would an old man? Millie could not bear the thought of actually getting her hopes up to find some answers only to be disappointed again. She knew it was always better to expect very little. That is exactly what she had done to prepare for their meeting with Mr. Firth. But his sudden outburst that he did remember something had her feeling more hopeful than she had in a very long time. Maybe he can put some of the questions about my past to rest. Still waiting for Mr. Firth to recall his fleeting memories, Millie asked again, What is it? Does it hurt to remember? Desperation colored her voice for the first time since she had arrived. It is painful, Mr. Firth grasped as he strained to remember. I'm trying. I just can't quite remember it clearly. Olivia, Millie, Mellie, and the other girls all leaned forward on the edge of their seats. He has to remember, Millie thought frantically. If he doesn't, then I may never know the truth. Mr. Firth, don't worry. Try to think about it gradually, one piece at a time. Any random thing that might ring a bell, Olivia gently suggested. She watched the old man struggling and felt sorry for him. She even felt a little guilty for putting him through this, but he was right. It was important. Olivia reached into Mr. Firth's mind, hoping that somehow she might be able to piece together some information from his muddled thoughts. But it was no use. Peering into his mind felt like wading into muddy waters. Too much time had passed. Mr. Firth continued for several more minutes, and at last, they could not take it anymore. "It's all right if you can't remember right now. You can call my phone number if you think of anything later," Olivia said. "Very well." Mr. Firth sighed, disappointed. "I'm sorry I'm so old and useless." "Not at all," Olivia assured him. She looked at Millie and felt bad for her. Poor Millie. She was hoping that we might be able to get some answers here today, but it seems like this whole trip was a bust. "Let's head back," Millie suggested. She was trying not to seem disappointed, but it was hard. She also knew the feeling of not being able to remember anything and didn't want to embarrass or frustrate Mr. Firth any more than they already had. I really can't remember anything either. It's like the closer I get to remembering something, I get that splitting pain in my head. It's a terrible feeling, and I don't want to do that to this nice old man. I shouldn't have gotten my hopes up, even at the end. We've taken enough of his time. Okay, Olivia nodded. You guys go on ahead. I'm going to stay back and look through some books. Thanks for letting me hitch a ride in for earlier. Millie smiled. She waved goodbye and turned away, but her eyes took on a dark look that they could not unsee. It's a good thing Mr. Firth doesn't remember, Millie thought. I hope he never does. It's better for everyone that way. After they all left Mr. Firth's bookstore, Millie found herself in a strange mood and filled with mixed emotions. She was undeniably disappointed that they had to walk away without finding out any answers. At the same time, she also felt relieved. I don't know if I could handle the actual truth, even if I finally got it. Would I be able to believe the truth about who I am? Would I be able to accept it? I think maybe I prefer to not know and just leave it all in the murky past. If the truth is going to cause more confusion and pain, I'm happy to keep everything in my life just the way it is without answers. Olivia took Millie's hand in solidarity. I'm sorry. I didn't expect this to be such a dead end today. The more we dig, the situation just gets worse and worse, Olivia thought gloomily. I feel more and more anxious about it, but all we find out just seems to be even more confusing. Olivia. Millie stopped walking and looked at Olivia. Is it actually that important to find out who I really am? She asked. Who you are doesn't matter to me at all, Olivia said as she squeezed Millie's hand. But I think it does, and it should matter to you. You have the right to know. Olivia believed her own words, but she secretly had another reason. To protect Millie. If the Crawfords and the Pells were both trying to claim Millie as one of their own, they were going to need to be armed with the truth. Olivia looked into Millie's eyes and held her firmly by the shoulders. Millie, don't overthink it. There are too many things in this world that are totally out of our control. We both know it all too well. Don't be afraid of the unknown, just greet it as it comes. We'll help you every step of the way. You're not alone in this, I promise. Millie nodded her head firmly and took Olivia's hands. Whatever happens, it won't change anything. Olivia smiled and nodded. It's a good thing Wendy isn't here, or she would definitely cry at a moment like this. She joked to lighten the mood. She absolutely would, Millie laughed. Wendy gets so touched by everything, she would have cried when we walked into the store. The girls chuckled. She's the best, Millie added with a smile. Thanks, guys. You don't have to worry about the future, Morgana chimed in matter-of-factly. The universe has ways of seeing the bigger picture. Uh-huh, Olivia and Millie nodded politely. Morgana, you seem to have a lot of superstitious opinions lately, Millie observed. I'm just trying to keep it real. Morgana shrugged and took out a coin from her pocket. The coin had strange patterns engraved on it. She held it out for them to see. I bought this from a booth on the side of the road yesterday. It's very accurate. Heads is good luck and tails is bad luck. Well, how do you know which side is heads and which is tails? Millie asked. No interruptions? Morgana hissed. Olivia and Millie looked at each other and shrugged. They were used to Morgana doing weird stuff like this. I'm serious, you just watch, Morgana insisted. She tossed the coin up in the air and caught it. It's heads, she announced. Awesome, Olivia grinned. Thank goodness your weird magic is on my side, Millie teased good-naturedly. What is this attitude? Morgana scowled. If you don't believe me, just wait and see for yourself. I'm sure after you go home, you'll have very good luck. I didn't make the rules, I'm just telling you. Morgana shrugged and looked indifferently at her nails. I don't see how I could really be that lucky, Millie sighed skeptically. But it's true that Lena is waiting for me at home, so there's that. Maybe Lena is your good luck, Morgana said excitedly. Whatever it is, you will know when you get home. You'll know when you see it, trust me. You'll be like, wow, I laughed at Morgana, but she was right. Thank you, coin. And thanks for looking out, Morgana. Okay, Millie relented. Thank you. She looked out the car window and saw that they were already entering her neighborhood. Soon Violet pulled up to Millie's building and parked. We're here, she announced. Guess it's time to go, Millie said and opened the car door. Don't worry about today, Olivia. I know you and you'll obsess about it, but I'm okay with how things are. I don't want my life to change. Olivia nodded. You do know me, but okay. We can talk about other things and put it out of our minds for a while. Sounds good, Millie nodded. Suddenly, the backseat window rolled down and Morgana stuck her face out. Bye-bye, she waved. Remember what I said. You're going to have good luck today. You watch. Yes, okay, I'll keep an eye out. Millie laughed. She waved to Violet in the front seat. Thanks for driving us around all night, Violet. I don't mind at all, but you're very welcome. Violet smiled. Millie shut the car door and walked toward her building. She couldn't help but chuckle at Morgana's parting words. Guess I'm about to find out what my good luck is. Millie made it up to her in Lena's apartment and opened the door. Lena, I'm back, she called out. Are you hungry? It's kind of late. What if we order takeout? Takeout will not be necessary, Lena answered. We've got delicious food at home. Delicious food? Millie asked, surprised. She sniffed the air and inhaled the tasty aroma of something cooking. Smells like lemon and garlic butter chicken? She closed the door and kicked off her shoes before putting on some slippers. If there is already awesome food ready to eat as soon as I walk in the door, that is pretty luck. Millie straightened up from putting on her slippers and had a sudden thought. This doesn't make sense. Lena only knows how to boil water and make instant noodles. Whatever is cooking is way above her skill level. Just as Millie was having these questions, she walked into the kitchen and saw a boy facing away from her. He scrolled through a recipe on his phone. He shook his head and sighed with his hands. Food blogs always bury the actual directions all the way on the bottom. A girl peered over his shoulder. You're not doing it right. It said brown for 5 minutes. It needs more time. The girl signed back aggressively. The boy didn't answer and kept stirring. Millie smiled and went to wash her hands. She sidled up to the boy and reached out to take the spoon from his hand. I can help, she signed. Hey, you're back. Camilla Pell grinned. You two can figure the rest of this out together. Lena and I are going to go play games. She looked pointedly at Cameron and walked out. Cameron smiled and opened the lid for Millie to see the chicken covered in creamy garlic sauce and lemons. Smells pretty good, Millie smiled. Cameron put the lid back down and wrapped his arms around Millie's waist from behind her before gently kissing her ear. Welcome back to me. Thank you. Millie giggled as she signed. Suddenly, Millie's eyes widened. Maybe Morgana was right, or her coin was just randomly lucky this time. But the best luck really was waiting for me at home. Meanwhile, Violet drove Olivia and Morgana home on the other side of town. After they had dinner, Olivia called up Chris Jones. Hi, are you busy? I'm busy missing you. Does that count? Chris smiled. I'll call back later then. Olivia laughed. I can spare a few minutes. Chris played along. I have something to ask you. Olivia said carefully, then got straight to the point. It's about Red Moon. I'm thinking about starting my own underground organization, so I thought I'd ask you about yours. There was a long silence on the other end of the phone. Olivia waited with bated breath for Chris's reply. Red Moon isn't just a group, Olivia, Chris began, his voice carrying a weight of seriousness. It's a network, an empire that operates in the shadows. Sven helps me run it, keeping tabs on everything that happens underground in New York. Olivia lounged in her bedroom, phone pressed to her ear, listening intently as Chris delved into the details of Red Moon. I want to know everything, she encouraged. Chris continued, his words tinged with a sense of pride. You have no idea how much power and control Red Moon gives me. It's like having eyes and ears in every corner of the city. Chris paused, then added, the information and intel Sven gathers for Red Moon, it's invaluable. It's not just about staying informed, it's about being prepared, always having a plan of attack, especially when it comes to the Seven Families and the business world. Olivia, her curiosity piqued, asked, So you think you really need Red Moon, Chris? Is it essential for you? Chris's response was immediate and firm. Absolutely I need it. I refuse to operate without it. It's my edge, Olivia. It keeps me several steps ahead of everyone else. Olivia, a hint of surprise in her voice, questioned further. You're not surprised I'm asking about this now? No, I'm not, Chris replied, a slight chuckle in his voice. The first time I saw Violet with you, it was clear she was more than just an assistant. She's an assassin, Olivia. You know that, I know that. And seeing her, I knew it was only a matter of time before you started your own venture. Olivia's mouth hung open in an impressed smile. She was surprised that Chris had intuited all that so easily. Chris continued, You're in the big leagues now, Olivia. This isn't Marshall High drama anymore, it's the real dark world. And in this world, you need to have your own power base, your own network. That's just how it is. Olivia absorbed his words, the reality of their situation sinking in. She was no longer just a high school student. She was a player in a much larger, more dangerous game. A game that required allies, intelligence, and most importantly, power. Chris's voice brought her back to the moment. So, Olivia, are you thinking of starting your own organization? It's a big step, but if anyone can do it, it's you. Olivia leaned back against her pillows, her mind racing with possibilities. This was a new chapter, a new challenge, and she felt a thrill at the prospect. Maybe I am, Chris, she mused. Maybe I am. Chris's voice took on a teasing tone. You know, if you start your own crime organization, I'm worried you won't need to call me anymore. Olivia laughed softly, her voice playful yet alluring. Chris, I call you for a lot more reasons than just your intel. Oh, really? Chris asked, his interest piqued. And what might those reasons be? Olivia's voice was a mix of flirtation and sincerity. Well, for starters, you're pretty good company, even over the phone. Then there's your charming personality, your sense of humor, your advice. She paused for a moment, a mischievous smile in her voice. And, of course, I call you mostly to steal your brilliant ideas. Chris chuckled. I should have known. So if you were to start this organization, what would you name it? The conversation shifted to brainstorming names. Chris threw out a myriad of suggestions, each met with Olivia's candid appraisal. How about Shadow Syndicate? Chris suggested. Too cliché. Olivia replied promptly. Okay, what about the Velvet Hand? He tried again. Olivia laughed. Sounds like a fancy glove company, Chris. He persisted. All right. The Night's Whisper? Nope, sounds like a bedtime story, she teased. Chris continued undeterred, offering name after name, but each was met with Olivia's playful rejection. Not mysterious enough, she'd say, or too obvious, or that just doesn't feel right. Seriously, Olivia, what are you looking for in a name? Chris finally asked, his tone a mix of amusement and curiosity. Olivia's voice was thoughtful. Something cool, mysterious, something that really captures the essence of what this organization will be about. Chris, finally conceding defeat in the name game, chuckled. Okay, Olivia, I'm officially out of ideas for your crime organization's name. You're just too picky. Olivia's laughter rang through the phone. Oh, please, Chris, I just know what I want. Can't say the same for some of your suggestions. Chris feigned offense. Hey, The Night's Whisper was a masterpiece of a name. You just can't appreciate good art. Good art? Olivia teased back. More like good for a laugh. You're just not hitting the cool and mysterious mark I'm aiming for. The playful banter continued, with both of them enjoying the lighthearted exchange. Eventually, Olivia glanced at the clock. Looks like it's time for me to call it a night, Chris. Good night. Chris, caught off guard by the sudden end to their conversation, protested. Why end the call now? We were having fun. Olivia's response was light but firm. We were, but we're running out of things to say. As much as I enjoy our teasing, there doesn't seem to be much reason to stay on the phone. Chris opened his mouth to respond, then hesitated. His internal thoughts began to surface. Why do we need to have something to talk about? I like just being on the phone with her, talking about nothing. Why does our conversation have to be transactional? He contemplated voicing these thoughts, his mouth parting slightly to speak. But before he could articulate his feelings, Olivia spoke again. Good night, Chris, she said, and the call ended before he could respond. Chris sat in silence, pondering. Next time, I'll tell her. It's not about the conversation, it's about the connection. Maybe she feels the same way. Olivia, now alone in her room, murmured to herself, Am I really considering starting a crime organization? Violet said it would be the best next move, and I agree with her. Olivia paced through her room as she continued to talk to herself. If I do, it needs the perfect name. Something that stands out. Her thoughts were interrupted by an idea. She grabbed her phone and quickly dialed Francis. He answered almost immediately. Hey, Francis, Olivia greeted warmly. I need your creative brain. Got a minute? Francis, always eager to help, replied, Of course, Olivia, what's up? Olivia framed her request carefully. I'm brainstorming names for a gang in a video game. It needs to have an edge, something that screams revenge and power. Any ideas? Francis's voice perked up with excitement. Oh, I like where this is going. How about Vengeance Vanguard or Wrath's Reign? Olivia's eyes lit up. Those are good. What else? Francis thought for a moment. Okay, how about the Covert Crown or Dominion's Dare? She nodded, impressed. These are great, Francis. They have the vibe I'm going for. I'll probably pick one of these. Glad I could help, Francis responded cheerfully. Can't wait to see which one makes the cut in your game. They're all great options, but the Vengeance Vanguard really sticks out to me, Olivia said as the idea of her own crime organization started to take shape in her mind. Francis's tone shifted as he dropped a new piece of news. Hey, Olivia, did you hear? The news just broke that the Coopers and the Roses are going to be working together. Olivia responded unsurprised. Yeah, I'm not shocked. I already saw Mark and Beatrix together. It was only a matter of time before they made it official. There was a moment of silence before Francis spoke up again, his voice hesitant. Olivia, can I ask you a favor? Of course you can, Olivia replied warmly. What do you need? Francis exhaled heavily over the phone, his nervousness palpable. Olivia could hear the tension in his breath. Francis, what's wrong? You sound really nervous, Olivia asked, her concern evident in her tone. Francis hesitated before responding. It's just this favor. It's kind of a big deal for me. I've never asked for something like this before. Olivia waited patiently, offering reassurance. Whatever it is, Francis, you know I'm here for you. Just tell me what you need. Olivia, my mom, she's invited you to dinner, Francis blurted out, his words tumbling over one another. And I mean, you don't have to come if you don't want to. She can be, well, she's a bit much sometimes. But I'd really appreciate it if you came. It would mean a lot to me, though I totally get if you'd rather not. Olivia couldn't help but laugh at his nervous rambling. Frances, relax. I'm pretty sure I can handle your mom. I'll come to dinner. Her expression softened. But I have one condition. I'll go only if Lena comes too. There was a pause, and Frances hesitated. I don't know if that's a good idea, Olivia. Lena and my mom. Olivia's brow furrowed, her protective instincts for Lena kicking in. Why? What's wrong? Are you embarrassed of Lena? No, it's not that I'm ashamed of Lena at all. Frances hurried to explain. It's something else. I'm afraid. Frances trailed off. Olivia's mind was racing. What is Frances afraid of? Olivia's tone was gentle but insistent as she probed further. Frances, what's so complicated about inviting Lena? She's wonderful. Frances squirmed on the other end of the line, his discomfort evident. I know Lena's great, Olivia. It's not about her. It's about my mom. She can be a lot. Go on, Olivia encouraged. Sighing, Frances tried to articulate his concerns. My mom is overbearing, critical, a real piece of work, honestly. She doesn't seem to have a filter or social skills. But the truth is, she's just kind of rude. And I'm worried that if Lena meets her, she might not like me anymore. Olivia chuckled lightly. Frances, Lena likes you for you, not for your family. But I get why you're nervous. Frances continued, his voice laced with worry. You don't understand, Olivia. My mom can be unbearable. She doesn't know when to stop, and it's not just the occasional comment. She goes on and on. I can handle it, but Lena, I don't want her to think less of me because of my mom's behavior. Olivia reassured him. Frances, trust me, Lena's tougher than you think. She won't be scared off by a difficult parent. And if Lena really cares about you, which I know she does, your mom won't change that. Frances's resistance was palpable, even through the phone. But what if Lena gets the wrong impression? What if she thinks less of me? Olivia's voice was firm yet supportive. Frances, that's nonsense. Lena's not going to judge you based on your mom's behavior. You're not your mom, and Lena knows that. Just give her some credit. She'll be fine. After a moment, Frances let out a defeated sigh. Okay, Olivia, I'll trust you on this. But promise me you'll be there too? Of course I'll be there, Olivia confirmed, a smile in her voice. We'll tackle this dinner together, and who knows? It might not be as bad as you think. Frances finally agreed, albeit reluctantly. All right, Olivia, I'm counting on you. Across town, Lena, Millie, Cameron, and Camilla were finishing up a delightful dinner. The Powell twins had outdone themselves with the cooking and were now busy cleaning up the dishes. Suddenly, Lena sneezed, causing Millie to glance up from her plate. Bless you. Weird time for allergies, huh? Lena shook her head, a thoughtful look on her face. It wasn't an allergy sneeze. I think it was a sign. Millie looked at Lena, curious and a bit confused. A sign? What do you mean? Lena, leaning back in her chair, began to explain. You know, sometimes people say that a sneeze can mean someone is thinking about you. It's like a little hint from the universe. I think someone is thinking about me right now. Millie's interest was piqued. Who do you think is thinking about you, Lena? Lena's cheeks tinged pink as she replied, I hope it's Francis. Maybe he's thinking something nice about me. Millie smiled warmly at Lena's response. I'm sure it's Francis, Lena. He probably can't stop thinking about how wonderful you are. Lena blushed deeper at Millie's comment, her heart fluttering at the thought of Francis. Do you really think so? I mean, we've been getting along so well lately. Millie nodded, her smile growing. Absolutely, Lena. You two have such a special connection. It's obvious he probably thinks about you all day and all night. I'm surprised you're not constantly sneezing. Lena's blush burned brighter at Millie's comment, a bashful smile lighting up her face. Camilla, with a playful tone, turned to Millie and Lena. So, what do we want to do now? Lena, her blush still evident, looked at Camilla with an idea. How about we play some more video games? Camilla's face lit up at the suggestion. I love playing games with you, Lena. Let's have some fun and unwind a bit. Millie, however, seemed to be in a different mood. You two go ahead with the games. I'm not really in the mood for that tonight. I think I could use some fresh air. She turned to Cameron and signed, asking if he'd like to go for a walk with her. His response was immediate and enthusiastic, his hands moving fluidly as he signed back. I'd love to go on a walk with you, Millie. With plans set, Camilla and Lena headed to the living room, where they grabbed controllers and got their games set up. Meanwhile, Millie and Cameron slipped on their jackets and stepped out into the cool evening air. Millie's thoughts swirled chaotically as she walked beside Cameron. The silence around them was a stark contrast to the noise in her mind. It felt so strange seeing Mr. Firth, she thought. He just brought back all those memories of the orphanage, my past. I hate it. I hate how those memories resurface and unsettle me. Her mind drifted to the memory Mr. Firth almost recalled but then lost. It's so frustrating, and it's weird. I often get these headaches too whenever I try to remember certain things from my past. It's like there's a barrier I just can't cross. She pondered the connection. Is there something common between Mr. Firth's memory loss and my headaches? It can't be a coincidence that we both struggle to recall the past. Is it something to do with the orphanage? Millie's thoughts then turned to Olivia. Why is she so insistent on digging up my past? I mean, she means well, but it's my past, my pain. Sometimes I just want to forget, to leave it all behind. She questioned Olivia's motives. Does she really think uncovering my past will change anything? Maybe it's best left alone. The past is in the past for a reason. Millie sighed. Olivia needs to understand that not everything lost should be found again. Some things are better off buried and forgotten. Cameron watched Millie closely, noticing the troubled look in her eyes. He could see she was lost in her thoughts, grappling with something deep and personal. Wanting to offer comfort, he gently took Millie's hand, drawing her attention with his soft, concerned eyes. The gentle touch of Cameron's hand pulled Millie out of her whirlwind of thoughts. Eager to lighten the mood, Millie signed to Cameron, suggesting a playful game. Let's play a game, she signed. I'll close my eyes, and you guide me down the street. Cameron's face lit up with a warm smile, his eyes sparkling with delight at the idea. He signed back enthusiastically. I'd love to play that game with you. Millie couldn't help but smile wider at Cameron's infectious smile. She felt a sense of lightness, a brief escape from her heavy thoughts. Cameron then signed, All right, close your eyes. Millie hesitated for a moment, caught off guard by her own admiration of his smile. She smiled sheepishly, slightly embarrassed at being caught staring, and obediently closed her eyes. In a tender, unexpected moment, Cameron leaned in and placed a soft, sweet kiss on Millie's lips. The surprise brought a giggle from Millie, her cheeks flushing with a rosy blush as she opened her eyes. Across the street, hidden in the shadows, Derek watched the tender scene between Cameron and Millie unfold. His eyes narrowed and a surge of anger coursed through him as he saw Cameron's lips gently press against Millie's. His fists clenched tightly at his sides, barely containing the rage boiling within him. Millie and that boy, how dare he? Derek mumbled under his breath, his voice laced with fury and disbelief. Those lips, they have no right to be on hers. Just then, Millie approached Derek, her steps light and carefree. She paused, noticing Derek's enraged state. Derek, what's got you so worked up? She asked, her tone laced with curiosity. Derek's gaze remained fixed on Millie and Cameron, his anger unabated. It's disgusting, he spat out, unable to tear his eyes away from them. I can't stand seeing anyone kiss Millie, especially not him. Millie looked at Derek, her expression turning from curiosity to confusion. But why does it bother you so much? It's just a kiss, she pointed out, trying to understand his reaction. Derek's face contorted with frustration, unable to articulate the whirlwind of emotions he felt. It's just wrong. I don't want to see Millie with anyone else. It's not right. Millie watched Derek, her confusion deepening. She couldn't help but wonder what lay beneath Derek's anger and why he felt so possessive of Millie. Up the street, Carolina Crawford and Madeline Defarge strolled, their steps echoing softly on the pavement. Madeline appeared distinctly uncomfortable, her eyes darting around nervously as if expecting trouble at any moment. "Carolina, we really shouldn't be out here," Madeline whispered, her voice laced with apprehension. "This is Pell territory and it's not safe for us, especially not at this hour." Carolina turned to look at Madeline, her eyes burning with a defiant and slightly chaotic glint. "I don't care about it being Pell territory," she retorted sharply. "I'm not going to cower and hide just because we're in their part of the city." Madeline shifted uneasily, clearly unsettled by Carolina's brazen attitude. Carolina's expression darkened as she spoke again, her voice tinged with frustration and anger. "I'm so pissed, Madeline. I don't want Mariana to be found. I like being the eldest Crawford daughter. I won't let her come back and take my place." Madeline looked at Carolina, her discomfort growing. She understood the family dynamics at play, but Carolina's blatant hostility towards her missing sister was unsettling. "You really mean that?" Madeline asked, her tone a mix of surprise and concern. "You would rather have your sister stay missing than have her back and possibly disrupt your position in the family?" "Yes, I do," Carolina snapped. "Mariana's disappearance has been a blessing for me. I've had the chance to be in the spotlight, to be the one the family looks to. I won't let her return and steal that from me." Across town, Olivia was dozing quietly in her chair, her mind at ease until a sudden, inexplicable feeling of unease jolted her from her relaxation. She looked around, her expression one of confusion and concern. "What's going on?" she muttered to herself. "Something feels off, but I can't put my finger on it." At that moment, her phone rang, snapping her out of her thoughts. She glanced at the caller ID and saw it was Jeff. Could this be the bad news? Is this what's been bothering me? She thought out loud, her voice tinged with worry. With a hesitant hand, Olivia answered the call. "Jeff, what's up? Is everything okay?" she asked, bracing herself for potential bad news. "Hey, Olivia, I just wanted to update you about my meeting with Jared Nevin," Jeff said, his tone surprisingly calm. "It went well, actually. I think he's seriously considering leaving his family to join us at the park company." Olivia's eyebrows rose in surprise. "Really? Are you sure Jared's really prepared to leave his family? We don't need to butter him up more?" "I can't be 100% sure, of course, but I think we're really close to having him on our side," Jeff said, trying to hide his excitement. "He wants to meet with you." Olivia wasn't convinced as she questioned Jeff. "But why does he want to see me?" Jeff's voice took on a thoughtful tone. "He didn't give a specific reason for wanting to meet you, but, well, he had a black eye, Olivia. It looks like things are pretty rough for him at home. Maybe he's officially tired of being in his brother's shadow. Or maybe Jake's ego is causing the brothers to fight in more ways than before." Olivia's mind raced with questions and concerns. A black eye? What's happening in the Nevin household? She thought to herself. She felt a mix of skepticism and curiosity about Jared's motives. There has to be more to this, right? Olivia listened intently as Jeff broached a new subject. "Olivia, you should really consider attending the Handler Company Gala," he said with a hint of urgency in his voice. Intrigued, Olivia leaned in, her interest piqued. "I've been thinking about that, Jeff, but I'm curious. Why do you think it's so important for me to be there?" Jeff dove into his explanation, his voice carrying a note of conviction. "Here's the thing, Olivia. I have a strong feeling that Mark DeLillo and the Roses are up to something. The gala is the perfect stage for them, especially now that they've got the Coopers on their side. I suspect they're planning to rope the Handlers into whatever they're scheming with the Rose Company. It could be significant, and we need to be there to see it unfold." Olivia processed Jeff's words, nodding slowly. "That's a solid point, Jeff. I want you to come with me to the gala, and I think we should bring Violet along too. We'll need all the help we can get to keep an eye on Mark's activities." Jeff's hesitation was palpable even through the phone. "Olivia, about Violet, I'm not too keen on that idea. I don't exactly trust her, and frankly, she makes me uncomfortable." Olivia's response was firm yet understanding. "Jeff, I get where you're coming from, but trust me on this. I have faith in Violet. Her skills and perspectives are crucial for what we might be dealing with at the gala. She's a key part of our strategy." Jeff sighed, the sound heavy with reluctance. "All right, Olivia, I'll go with you and Violet to the gala, but I'm keeping my distance from her. Just know that I'm doing this because I trust you, not her." The next morning, Olivia and Lena strolled through the bustling corridors of Marshall High. Olivia glanced at her friend. "So, Lena, did Francis tell you about the dinner with his parents tonight?" she asked casually. Lena's expression immediately turned uncomfortable, a clear sign of her apprehension. She fidgeted with the straps of her backpack, her eyes darting around as if seeking an escape. "Yeah, he mentioned it," Lena admitted, her voice tinged with unease. "But I'm not sure how I feel about it, Olivia. It's just, I don't know if tonight is the right time." Olivia, sensing Lena's reluctance, encouraged her to elaborate. "What's on your mind? You seem pretty anxious about it." Lena took a deep breath, launching into a torrent of excuses. "Well, for starters, the rabbits need me tonight. They haven't been eating properly, and I promised I'd watch them eat to make sure they're okay," she began, her words tumbling out in a nervous rush. "And then there's this project I've been working on for biology class. It's really important, and I can't afford to fall behind on it. Plus, I think I might be coming down with something. I wouldn't want to get Francis or his parents sick," Lena continued, her list of reasons growing more far-fetched. "Oh, and I promised my neighbor I'd help her with her garden. She's been having trouble with pests, and I told her I'd look into some organic solutions for her. It's just, there's so much going on, you know?" Lena rambled on, her voice a mix of earnestness and desperation. Olivia listened patiently, a knowing smile tugging at the corners of her mouth. "Lena, it's okay to be nervous about meeting Francis' parents, but don't you think you're reaching a bit with these excuses?" Millie, with her usual bright and curious demeanor, approached Olivia and Lena. "Hey, what's the chatter about over here?" she inquired, her eyes sparkling with interest. Olivia glanced at Lena before responding. "Lena here is trying to come up with every excuse in the book to avoid going to dinner with Francis and his parents tonight." Millie raised her eyebrows in surprise. "Really, Lena? But you can't bail on that. It's tonight, and Francis seems really looking forward to it. Plus, it could bring you two even closer, which is what you want, right?" Lena let out a groan of frustration, her face scrunching up. I know, but it's a big step, you know?" Olivia, curious, leaned in closer. "Why do you want to skip out on it, Lena? Meeting his parents is a good thing, isn't it?" Lena sighed, her words laced with apprehension. "It's like, imagine if you had to meet Chris's parents, Olivia. It can be so awkward and uncomfortable. They'll want to know about our relationship status and where we see things going in the future. It's all just too much." Olivia nodded as she listened to Lena's worry. "I met Chris's family before I even met him. But I guess if I hadn't, I could see how scary it seems." Millie nodded in understanding but remained firm. "But Lena, that's part of being in a relationship, right? Facing those awkward moments together and growing from them. It's a chance for you to show Francis's parents how great you are." Lena bit her lip, considering Millie's words. "I guess you're right. It's just daunting, you know? What if they don't like me?" Olivia and Millie looked at Lena with soft eyes as the word girl continued to gnaw at her lip. Lena's voice was tinged with uncertainty as she confided in Olivia and Millie. "I just think it's way too soon to be meeting Francis's parents." As the words left her mouth, Francis unexpectedly joined the trio, catching the tail end of Lena's sentence. His eyes, usually bright and cheerful, clouded over with hurt. "Lena, do you really think it's too soon to meet my parents?" he asked, his voice laced with a sense of rejection. Lena turned to face Francis, guilt washing over her features. She opened her mouth to respond, but the words seemed to catch in her throat. She struggled to articulate her feelings, her gaze flickering between Frances's hurt expression and the sympathetic faces of Olivia and Millie. Frances's shoulders slumped slightly as he waited for Lena's response, the silence hanging heavy in the air. Lena's hesitation spoke volumes. "I didn't mean for it to come out like that," Lena whispered, her voice barely audible. Olivia, always the voice of reason, stepped forward, her tone firm yet encouraging. "Lena, you need to push through this fear. It's important to Frances, and if not for yourself, do it for him." Millie nodded in agreement, adding, "Frances cares about you a lot, Lena. Meeting his parents is a big step, but it's a step worth taking. You're not alone in this." Lena looked at Frances, her eyes shining with a mix of hope and apprehension. Frances, in turn, gazed back at her with a kind and gentle expression, his eyes conveying understanding and patience. After a moment of silence, Lena nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. "Okay, I'll go. It's all so new to me." But then, as if on cue, Lena hesitated and began, "But what if—" Olivia cut her off, her voice laced with a hint of sternness. "No more what ifs, Lena. You're going to this dinner, and that's final. It's better to face this head on rather than keep avoiding it. Trust me, it won't be as bad as you think. Frances's parents are very enthusiastic." Frances and Olivia exchanged a glance, both aware of the potential challenges ahead. Frances leaned in, whispering into Olivia's ear, "I appreciate your support, Olivia, but maybe this is too much for Lena. My mom can be quite overwhelming. She's known to turn a simple dinner into a spectacle." Olivia's eyes flicked to Lena, her expression one of concern. The last thing she wanted was for Lena to feel uncomfortable or overwhelmed. Lena noticed the worried look on Olivia's face, asked, "Wait, is everything okay? Is there something you're not telling me, Frances?"